Is here on Radio 2, and that's Night Fever, chosen by Jared Leto. We were just talking about the wonder of the Bee Gees and how amazing they were, and the documentary that came out.
Great documentary. If you haven't seen it out there, whoever's listening, check it out. It's incredible.
Yeah, just seeing them from such young kids when they started out. It was,
and
the talent.
They were like kind of a British-sounding pop band, although they're from Australia, right? And they had some success early on. I never even knew about that era. It really shined a light on how talented they are as writers. They wrote all those songs. They wrote songs for other people. They played all the instruments. They did all those harmonies. Pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. And then that film, which is one of my favourite films of all time, Saturday Night Fever. Yeah. I hadn't realised how rude it was, though. I showed it to I watched it with my kids fairly recently. I think it was in lockdown, probably. And I was like,
raunchy,
it's quite hardcore.
Yeah, it's a pretty raunchy movie for the time. And like you were saying, the Bee Gees, a lot of people probably don't even remember this, but they went through that really painful time where people were burning their albums, and disco was this dirty word, which is wild how history sometimes takes care of the past, right?
Yeah. No, it's so lovely they're celebrated now. And Barry Gibb played at Glastonbury when they did they have a slot there, and it's the Legends slot at Glastonbury, and Barry Gibb played on his own, and you could tell when he was on stage he wasn't sure whether people were taking the mickey out of him or whether they were genuinely liking him, and he was really quite edgy on stage at the beginning. And then eventually he was like, oh no, they've got like masks of my face because they like me. Yes. And you could see him just kind of turning around and going, no, it's okay, they do like me.
Yeah, I think it's nice how we can kind of rediscover an artist that we thought we knew, right?
Yeah. And you would make a great Bee Gee.
Oh, I would love to put on those satin pants, a little velour, and I was approached about a film project with the Bee Gees, and I don't know what's up with it these days, but someone had sent me a script to take a look at, but. I would watch the movie. Yeah, I would think it'd be really fun.
But you would be in it. And which one would you be? Who would you play?
I think Barry. But I think when you read a script, sometimes it changes. Like when I read House of Gucci, I wanted to play the smallest part in the movie. I didn't want to play the lead role. I was really attracted to this smaller role that I thought would be more of an adventure for me.
Yeah. So it suits you. Who knows? So the album. Tell me about the album. It's The End of the World, but it's a beautiful day. It was a product of lockdown. Is that right?
It was born into the early days of COVID, and my brother and I said, "Wow, we're all going through this wild time. We're all locked down, which is really tough on so many people around the world." And for us, it was an opportunity. We never were in the same place that long. I don't think our entire lives. No.
Where did you spend it? And who were you with?
I was in LA at the time, and then eventually I went to Nevada, and my brother was in Seattle. But after a few weeks of eating banana bread and watching television.
That happened in the States as well, the banana bread.
Watching, actually never made any, but I heard a lot about it. I made other stuff, but anyway, there's only so much you can do sitting on the couch watching like every Netflix show in every language in the world. We started to get to work, and we were sharing music back and forth. We were working remotely and recording songs, and that's where the album was kind of born into. And but that time for us was really crucial. It was the first time in our lives that we had that stability. Sounds odd, but it was the first time we had solid ground under our feet, and it was really healthy for him and for me. And productive time.
Yeah. And the themes on the record then, what do you... Because it's not as tough as I was expecting it to be, listening to the album. I've only been able to listen to it very briefly once.
Yeah, we have gentle sides.
Yeah, no, you have this soft underbelly.
I always loved the Cure.
Oh,
because,
my God.
They could have a song like Prayers for Rain or, Fascination Street, whatever your darker favorite is, but then they could also have Friday I'm in Love. So I always thought that diversity in terms of, creative output was really something to reach for. And this album for my brother and I is a chance to explore those kinds of things. Also, you know, in the 80s when David Bowie kind of came out of that Berlin period and reintroduced himself to the world in a different way, I mean, that's exciting. For us, we could make, you know, 7-minute, 30 seconds to Mars songs pretty easily. The more challenging thing for us would be, like, how do we do something we've never done before? And this album is that.
Okay, well, I'm frustrated now because I haven't been able to listen to it enough to be able to like pick any songs apart. But what is on there that you're particularly proud of, that you think is going to surprise people?
Well, the songs that I always love the most are the ones that people listen to the least. So my taste is a little more niche. There are always some darker songs on the album, on every album, that I kind of are personal favorites of mine. And every album seems to have these couple of songs that fall almost, if I put them all on an album together, maybe I should do that like on a playlist on Spotify or something.
Yeah.
They have this kind of American Gothic feel, not in the sense of like goth, you know, eyeliner, black clothes, which I love too. But there's something, that connective tissue between this certain group of songs. And maybe one day I can kind of address it in a better way. But on this album, we have a lot of different types of songs. We have, you know, of course, Stuck, which has a lot of energy. It's still got an anthemic thing, which I think is familiar to people that know 30 Seconds to Mars. There's a certain size and energy to it. And, you know, there's a song called Never Not Love You that, you know, I played for people, and numerous times they've like shed tears as they're listening to the song for the first time, which is a pretty wild response.
Do you shed tears? Are there songs that move you?
No, I haven't cried in about 17 years.
No way.
The last time it was because I stubbed my toe.
Why? Why do you not cry?
I'm just like a lizard. I don't think my tear ducts work properly. Maybe I shed them all in Requiem for a Dream or something. I cried so much during the making of that movie. You know, a wild thing about that film is I remember, you know, I had a scene and I was supposed to be, you know, very emotional in the scene. And then literally when they shot right after my close-up, I got a call. And one of my best friends had just been shot in the head. And the emotion that came in that moment, you know, number one, I recognized, you know, what a brutal loss this was. And, you know, I felt for his family and all of that. And I immediately just, you know, was talking to my brother. But I realized what a bad actor I was, because it didn't really touch anything that I'd done in the scene. And I believe I went back and asked for another take. And I shared a little bit of that in the scene, and that's what's in the movie when I'm talking on the phone. So in a way, you know, he lives in that scene, just to get a little maudlin or whatever. But anyway, this album has a lot of brightness. It has a lot of optimism. It has a lot of celebration. Of course, there are darker sides we explore, as always, too, because, you know, we like to explore a lot of different things.
Of course.
But I'm excited for people to hear it. I think for us, we feel like we're a brand new band.
Re-energized and revitalized.
Yeah.
Let's play a track, and we've got lots to talk about. So let's play a song that takes you back to your childhood. You've mentioned David Bowie already.
Yeah.
So Space Oddity, what does this song mean to you?
Well, for me, you know, I listened to this song and I learned a lot of the words of this song, and I didn't even know it was David Bowie. It was on the radio when I was a kid, and my mom would drive around in her old beat up Volvo, I think she bought for $200. And my brother, her and I would, you know, sing the song, and others like it, but this is really part of the soundtrack of my youth. And of course, Bowie is really the pinnacle of, like, you know, what is possible as a musician and an artist. I think he set a great example.